All right, next up, we have Knowless. I recognize this name. Let's go. Anybody feeling good on Monday? It's January. Good morning. I almost gave up. See, even that's such a good way to end it. Even though it's like the beat felt like it stopped short, at least they looped it. They put it in some effects. I love that. Thank you, Knowless.
All right, what's up, everyone? It's knowless, and I'm going to show you how I won the Kenny Beats battle on January 3rd of 2022. All right, so first of all, here's the sample that we were given. Alright, so for the sample, I just chopped it apart with the voice, and I just end up with something like this. So for the sample, what I ended up doing is putting it into a mixer channel and EQing out all the low ends so there'd be space for the 808. So I also have an automation clip here, which is supposed to fade in the sample as it's played, which you can hear in these first two. But the rest of them don't have that because I just didn't think about the fact that the automation clips don't apply to unique ones unless you do some consolidated, whatever, just random shit. But yeah, I think it sounds good as it is though still. So I also started the battle 20 minutes late, so I didn't really have time to think about that stuff. I just had to go and finish what I could. Also, just for the sake of organization, what I ended up doing is highlighting what I did with the chops and pressing Control-Alt-C at the same time to consolidate a clip together, so everything is just in one clip, and it just sounds the exact same. Moving on to more of the melodies, the first thing I did to balance the sample was go to 3x OSC and add a little noise filter to a sine wave using this weird dice looking thing, and then added a small volume envelope. I don't really know music theory all too well, so I couldn't tell you what chords these are, but I made these chords, and I clicked Alt-S to use the strumizer and strum the chords a little bit, and this is what the chords sound like. So here I use this flute sound. It sounds like this. I got this flute sound from the Memblem neighbor kit, which I do highly recommend because I did use it for a lot of the drum sounds in this song too. And this is what it sounds like with the other melody too. For the delay effect at the end, I just made another unique version of the same sound and put it on a different channel rack and put free delay on it. And that's really about it. So for the next sound, I used FreeDX10 and I messed with the chorus pitch a little bit and added a little bit of tack to it and made this chirpy bell kind of sound. It sounds like this. And this is what it sounds like in the actual song. You could probably tell there's a little bit of delay there, so I used Free Delay 3 and I added a ping pong panning effect to it. There's also these bubbly blips which sound like this. I brought out 3x OSC once again and had a raw sine wave, and I put on amplitude modulation and kept the coarse pitch of the third level at 24, and I increased this mix level right here on this knob. When you make it higher, it will have more of a high end because of the amplitude modulation. And then I also have a small volume envelope with a little bit of release, and then a pitching envelope so that it starts out with the pitch trying to glide up. And here's it together with the other melodies. So now I have another 8-bar loop, and it starts out with FreeDX10 like this. And for this Fruity DX10, I did the similar thing to the other one, and I messed with the Module 1 chorus pitch with a little bit of attack, and I kept some of the waveform up, and I also added a tiny bit of reverb to it. So behind the Fruity DX10, I have this another version of the 3X oscillator. I kept everything default and just made the entire thing be fully wet and reverb, and that sort of makes it so there's like this hollow bell kind of sound in the background, and it sounds like this. This might be my favorite part of the song here. This was a very similar sound to the other DX10s, and I just added a little bit of delay to it, and that's about it. So I ended up having this other sound that just didn't make it to the final cut because I accidentally muted it before I exported it somehow. It's basically just a saw wave, and it would have sounded like this if I had it. If you're wondering how I made that sound for whatever reason, I just combined saw waves with a square wave and added a little bit of fine pitch. Alright, so now onto the drums. Here are all like the little perks and drum sounds that I used. If you wanted to know, most of the sounds from the Memblem Neighbor kit, but some of them were also made by me personally. And here's all the drums together. Honestly, this little sound right here was by accident. I was gonna make something else and then I didn't have enough time and I kept it in there, but it sounded good with the song, so I'm happy with that. For the intro, I just had a master volume fade in with the reverb on. The reverb turns off as the beat's about to drop, and I had some of the stuff on, but not all of them, and that's really about it. I remember for the ending, I faked out Kenny really hard.
Arrangement.
I had this little vocal that would play with a delay and had every sound consolidated into one clip, and I put reverb that would come in on the clip, and the master would fade out, and this is how it sounds. So I almost forgot about this little sound that I had at the very end. And for that, all I did was pull out 3X OSC and I put the fine pitch to around that notch. Anywhere around that notch is pretty good to make that sound. And I had a small envelope, and that's about it. So I think that's about it for the breakdown video. And I hope you guys really enjoyed it and learned something new and make some crazy shit with whatever you learned, I guess. I'd like to give a quick shout out to Kenny and the prizes he gives out once again. I said this in my last video, but I'm still grateful for what he does for the community. Also, really big shout out to Memblem community and irisgrove. They're really inspiring and they've helped me get to where I am at this point in production, and I will be forever grateful for that. Once again, thank you everyone, and I'll just let the song play out for the rest of the video.
Uh-huh.